Hello everyone. Now we are here today with week 23. This is session 1 and we'll be reading Your Subconscious Mind and Harmonious Human Relationships. Yes, continue. Welcome to the session, Shilpi. Start. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
I'll read. I don't know where Shilpi is. Doesn't matter. In studying this book, you learn that your subconscious mind is a recording machine which faithfully reproduces whatever you impress upon it. This is one of the reasons for the application of the golden rule in the human relations. Matt 7 to 12 says, all things whatever ye would that men should do unto you, do ye even so to them. This quotation has outer and inner meanings. This quotation has outer and inner meanings. You are interested in it in its inner meaning from the standpoint of your subconscious mind, which is as you would that men should think you about them in like manner. As you would that men should feel you also about them in like manner. As you would want men to act you towards them in like manner. For example, you may be polite and courteous to someone in your office, but when his back is turned, you are very critical and resentful towards him in your mind. Such negative thoughts are highly destructive to you. It is like taking poison. You are actually taking mental poisons which rob you of vitality, enthusiasm, strength, guidance, and goodwill. These negative thoughts and emotions sink down into your subconscious and cause all kinds of difficulties and melodies in your life. Such a beautiful start of the paragraph. So he's basically saying whatever we want something from somebody in return, we should not even think and create mentally. It is like stop being a hypocrite. Like on the face, we are, actually praising them, but behind the back, we are criticizing them. So in that case, what happens is the inner emotion which we are transmuting to the other person is the real emotion, and it actually transmutes the other body to the person whom we are backbiting. So what will happen is when we keep on, collecting this hatred in us or the negative emotions in us, one day the other person, as he comes up, will not find him in a very good vibe, and you will think, what happened? What happened suddenly that this all has happened to me? So I remember from this, I'll go ahead. Then I'll have a very wonderful example to share. I recently met somebody. I'll share after we read one or two paragraphs more. So the master key to happy relationship with others. Judge not that ye be not judged, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. Matthew 7, 1 to 2. A study of the application contains of harmonious relationship. Body in your mind. The thought creative. Therefore, you actually create your experience what you think and feel about the other person. It is also true that the suggestion you give to another, you give to yourself because your mind is a creative medium. This is why it is said, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. When you know the law, way your subconscious mind works, you are careful to think, feel, and act right towards the other. These verses teach you about the emancipation of man and reveal to you the solution of your individual problems. See, such a wonderful point he has kept that whenever we think we are actually judging somebody. So when we are not thinking about anything, that is a clean slate. It's a blank state. So nothing is being created. And when we start thinking about something, we are always, describing some attitude of good, bad, right, wrong, something or the other. So that is only what we are thinking in the mind, we are creating for the other person. So if we continuously start thinking that somebody is going to cheat me, or somebody is going to hit me, or somebody is going to this or that, it will actually appear. And because it is done with a very deep emotion. When we start overthinking or we start mentally reacting, we have emotions involved. And when those emotions are involved with that, we start seeing the other person in a good way or a bad way. So it is all depends on us. So if we don't want to see, the other person should appear as a happy and a joyful person, we have to create same impressions again and again. We can't lose out on our mind. That is why he's saying you are very careful to think, feel, and act right towards the other, so that whatever the other person appears, they'll appear like a mirror. Whatever we have think, and if we are not conscious, obviously it is going to go very haywire. Correct. So I remember from this, I remember recently I met a lady, and she was talking that after her mother-in-law expired, her both sister-in-laws have become very different. She says we had a very pleasant relationship, and I never thought that something like this will happen. Like, once my mother-in-law has expired, suddenly both the sister-in-laws have turned very different. So now, if you understand by the point of the book how much negative thoughts have been created while a mother-in-law has been a protective, barrier. So once that barrier has been removed, that means there was already turmoil in that lady. When there was already turmoil in that lady, what will be shown? That only will be shown, na, whatever is being in the mind. So as soon as that barrier was removed, or I can say that protective shield was removed, everything came out like a devastating state. And she said it was horrible to hear them. So then, that time I remembered this and I explained her the same thing. But the issue with the people is that they are not ready to accept that it is their doings which are creating. So in that point, what happens is they throw the relationships away. Whereas it is not the relationship that needs a healing. Sorry, the person needs a healing. It is the relationship within us. The point of thought process which we started creating in ourselves that somebody is bad, somebody is ugly. We need to change that story. Okay, do you agree with me, Shilpi, Divishri?
Yes, ma'am.
You getting my point?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let's with what we made. It can measure others and in values like by the law of mind. If a man cheats,
Hello, I can't hear you.
you
Ma'am, your voice
Hello.
is breaking.
Yes,
My-
Parvati's voice is breaking.
maybe my network has an issue. Give me a minute.
Yes. अब आ रही है. In between वो break हो जाती है.
1 minute. Let me check. So, now I'm audible?
Yes, yes. Now
Yes.
it is.
Okay. So shall I read again? And with that, and with what measure ye made, it shall be measured to you again. The good you do for others comes back to you in like measure, and the evil you do returns to you by the law of your own mind. If a man cheats and deceives another, he is actually cheating and deceiving himself. See? His sense of guilt and mood of loss inevitably will attract loss to him in some way at some time. His subconscious records his mental act and reacts according to the mental intention or motivation. See? So your subconscious mind is impersonal and unchanging, neither considering persons nor respecting religious affiliations or institutions of any kind. It is neither compassionate nor vindictive. The way you think, feel, and act towards others returns at last upon yourself. So it is not that we have to wait for that karma to return. It is immediately happening because the bitter feelings are already started engraving in us. So that has already started, depleting our energy, making blocks in our mind if we start thinking on a similar pattern in a similar way. So now he's again talking about, how things are, how, we may become sick. So he's saying he is actually cheating and deceiving himself. Like if a man cheats and deceives another, so he is actually cheating and deceiving himself. Somewhere, when we are unhappy about a situation, we'll think, no, this outside person will make me happy, or somebody else situation will make me happy. The actual point is we have to question that point of happiness, that what am I exactly looking out for? What kind of a pleasantness I am looking for, which is creating a void in me? Because that is cheating myself. That is called cheating myself. When I'm not able to recognize, or I am not able to do a wish fulfilled for myself, that is actually cheating myself. So we create those cravings which we start fulfilling with something or the other. We fill that void with entertainment, or we can say, addictions, and maybe cravings, everything, or even with sex. But the point is that when we understand exactly the need which has to be fulfilled within me, it is not something outside that has to go. It is something within me that needs a healing. And where am I cheating myself? When I'm telling I'm happy, I'm happy. But inside I understand that I'm not happy. Then whom am I telling that I'm happy? Just because I have to wear a mask, but then I'm not authentic with myself, then what will make me happy? That is the point. Okay. So the next is the daily headlines made him sick. Begin now to observe yourself, observe your reactions to people, conditions, and circumstances. How do you respond to the events and news of the day? It makes no difference if all the other people were wrong and you alone were right. If the news disturbs you, if it is your evil because your negative emotions robbed you of peace and harmony. A woman wrote me about her husband saying he was afraid when he reads what certain news columnists write in the newspaper. She added that his constant reaction of anger and suppressed rage on his part brought on bleeding ulcers, and his physician recommended an emotional reconditioning. See, the man is having a rage, and then what is happening is his own uh, he's got bleeding ulcers. See, what is the anger doing in him? He is himself. It is harming his own body, whereas it is only the printed news. So I invited this man to see me, and I explained to him the way his mind functions, indicating how emotionally immature it was to get angry with others, write articles with which he disapproves or disagrees. He began to realize that he should give the newspaper man freedom to express himself, even though the latter disagreed with him politically, religiously, and in any other way. In the same manner, the newspaper man would give him freedom to write a letter to the newspaper disagreeing with his published statements. He learned that he should disagree without being disagreeable. He awakened to the simple truth that it is never what a person says or does that affects him. It is his reaction to what is said or done that matters. This explanation was the cure for this man. He realized that with a little practice, he could master his morning tantrums. His wife told me subsequently that he laughed at himself and also at what the columnists say. They no longer have power to disturb, annoy, and irritate him. His ulcers have disappeared due to the emotional poison serenity. See, such a wonderful example. And one very important point what he's writing is here expression. When we express ourselves, it can be very good, it can be very bad. But when we are expressing, we should understand what kind of an expression I need. If a newspaper's just a story or just an article gives you so much of rage, that means there is something else burning in you. And then when you start expressing it, you start overcoming it. That is what he was saying. That when The newspaper man has a right to express. You also have a right to express, so you can tell him that this is what it is. But you can't argue with somebody and keep on arguing for the same thing. So it is okay to disagree with somebody. It is perfectly fine to disagree with somebody, right? So there is no need to be angry or hatred about it, right? So then he's saying expression. So, we often suppress our emotions. We don't express it. But when we start expressing and we learn to understand what my emotional needs are, what is this emotion telling me or trying to tell me? What is this emotion defining? Or what this situation is defining as an emotion? Which emotion is arising in me? It will give you a true picture. So suppose I'll tell you an example. So we were having a session of hypnosis where a lady was working with us, and she was actually very angry with her father. She was a married woman, married for 18 years, and she was very angry with her father. And the same imprints, the same impressions she had carried with every man, and now she was carrying the same impressions of with her husband. So she was so fearful inside, and she was seeing all the exactly same thing, cheating. And she was actually cheating herself, her own happiness. She kept on saying, no, no, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Ultimately, when she took this session, she realized that it was only that she was very angry with her own father, and she didn't want to get married. But because she thought that moving out of the house was only a reason, then she got married. When she chose a wrong partner, actually, because that vibration where she was at that moment, the impressions were still there, and ultimately she landed into a divorce. Because in the first place, she never wanted to get married, but she never knew that she was running from her own self. Are you getting my point? So this is how we do so much harm to ourselves when we are not getting true to ourselves and not asking the correct questions. That why is this happening? Which emotion is this? This is what he's saying. Disagree without being disagreeable. Okay. Shilpi, will you read now?
Okay, I'll read. I hate women, but I like men. A private secretary was very bitter towards some of the girls in her office because they were gossiping about her, and as she said, spreading vicious lies about her. She admitted that she did not like women. She said, I hate women, but I like men. I discovered also that she spoke to the girls who were under her in the office in a very haughty, imperious, and irritable tone of voice. She pointed out that they took a delight in making things difficult for her. There was a certain pomposity in her way of speaking. Pomposity in her way of speaking. And I could see there her tone of voice would affect some people unpleasantly. If all the people in the office or factory annoy you, isn't it a possibility that the vibration, annoyance, and turmoil may be due to some subconscious pattern or mental projection from you? We know that a dog will react ferociously if you hate or fear dogs. Animals pick up your subconscious vibrations and react accordingly. Many undisciplined human beings are just as sensitive as dogs, cats, and other animals. I suggested a process of prayer to this private secretary who hated women, explaining to her that when she began to identify herself with spiritual values and commenced to affirm the truths of life, her voice, mannerism, and hatred for women would completely disappear. She was surprised to know that the emotion of hatred shows up in a person's speech, actions, and in his writings, and all phases of his life. She ceased reacting in the typical resentful and angry way. She established a pattern of prayer which she practiced regularly, systematically, and conscientiously in the office. The prayer was as follows: I think, speak, and act lovingly, quietly, and peacefully. I now radiate love, peace, tolerance, and kindliness to all girls who criticized me and gossiped about me. I anchor my thoughts on peace, harmony, and goodwill to all. Whenever I'm about to react negatively, I say firmly to myself, I'm going to think, speak, and act from the standpoint of the principle of harmony, health, and peace within myself. Creative intelligence leads, rules, and guides me in all ways. The practice of this prayer transformed her life, and she found that all criticism and annoyance ceased. The girls became co workers and friends along life's journey. She discovered that there is no one to change but myself.
Hmm. There is no one to change but myself. So we cannot change
Myself.
people. We cannot change people. We only have to change our own mind, our own state of mind, right? So in this, see how he's saying that he sees reacting in typical resentful and angry way. So it is, it is not that easy to have, but it is like overcoming your own emotions. Okay, and this happens only when you ask yourself very true questions. And when you start asking yourself, why am I angry? Because again, the blame goes to it is very easy to blame. Because of this person, I did this. Because of this, I did this. We are not taking the ownership that our thoughts were so resentful because of our beliefs. Our belief was that this person they are like this. And we keep on repeating, we see manifesting people the same thing. That is the subconscious pattern. If you see that somebody is, haunting you, or somebody is always backbiting you, that means somewhere or the other you are creating the same. So when you are creating the same about them, this impression is definitely going to show up. And when you start thinking good things about the other people, it will change. So ultimately, only we have to change, nobody else. Divishri had a question a few months back. Remember, Divishri? You had a
Yes,
question.
ma'am, I was about to say the same thing.
Anna?
Yes,
So now you get your answer.
yes,
So you have
yes,
to internally change your own story. That's all. You don't have to do anything in physical. Are you understanding? You don't have to do
Mm.
physical will be seen only once you start shifting your story within your own mind. When you start repeating, people are helpful around me. Okay? Because now in your journey, you are one step ahead. So now you will be needing more support. Okay. So when you start thinking that everybody is very lovingly supporting and I am able to enjoy the freedom also, and everybody is, then what you are doing is you are blessing your environment. Normally, it is very difficult for a woman or people when we have very, bad experiences. But when we understand there is nobody to change, first we have to change within. So sit for forgiveness. There is a point of forgiveness in head. I think next chapter is there. But then you sit for forgiveness, you ask for forgiveness for yourself, for the other person, and you start changing your own vibes. Irrespective of what has been done, just erase it. Try to release all that. I'm not going to go to the past. Now I'm creating something new. Okay. So when you release those emotions, you'll think that they have done so much of wrong. I keep on. You don't have to actually, impress anybody. You only have to impress yourself. And how can you impress yourself? When you tell your own mind in your own self-talk a good way of everybody is very helpful for me. Everybody is supporting me. Whatever I want, I always get. All my needs are met. When you start telling yourself a new story, you will see the changes outside. You'll start seeing tremendous changes outside. Because there is nobody who's harming us. Okay? There is nobody who doesn't want a family member to be accepted or this thing. Only when we have, very thoughts which are very, we feel like if somebody is not talking to me, that means he's irritating me or he wants to ignore me. No. When we think somebody is ignoring, we'll see them ignoring. This is the subconscious. And in that same situation, if you start, saying yourself, even in this point also, they are only thinking about me. Whatever they are doing, they are only doing it for us. So in those moments, you transform because your energy is lighter, right? So you
Yes.
mold the situation as per your likingness. You tell yourself always what you want to see. Got it? Ritika, आपको
Got
समझ
it,
में
ma'am.
आ रहा है?
हाँ मैम समझ आ रहा है।
हाँ? Clear है point?
यस मैम, हाँ हाँ मैम सब क्लियर है।
ठीक, ठीक. चल, let's go ahead. We have the long topic. Okay, continue, Shilpi.
Yeah, I need 2 minutes. Somebody's at the door, you know.
So we'll
So,
do one thing. We'll do one thing. This session is going to end in 1 minute and 40 seconds. So we'll leave it here only, and we'll join the next session.
okay. Next one. ठीक है, sure. Okay.
Thank you, dear.